Goed, goeiemiddag ENAA111 studente. Ek gesels met julle hier uit ICView, ek is bietjie met verlof, maar ek het nie van julle vergeet nie. Verskoon asseblief my stem. Ek het so bietjie sinusitis en as dit al klink of ek mompel of jy hoor iets nie lekker nie, moenie huiwer om my te e-pos om seker te maak nie. We're going to do two things today. Firstly, we're going to look at problem areas that I saw that you guys have when I marked the part 3 of the semester assignment, and then we're going to discuss the exam preparation. Okay, let's start immediately with the problem areas. I just want to open the document. Okay, the instruction says they add colons and semicolons where necessary in these sentences. Okay, now what are the prerequisites for using a colon? It must either introduce speech, it must introduce a list where things are listed, and it can be a way of showing that something or giving an example of something. Gaan kyk asseblief mooi. Lees presies wat die instruksies vir jou sê. Okay. Wat ek gekry het is studente antwoord 'n vraag en die antwoord wat hulle gee is tegnies gesproke reg, maar dis nie wat die instruksies gevra het nie. As die instruksies vir jou sê only use semicolons, then you only use semicolons. You don't use dashes, you don't use commas for that. Let's have a look at the first one there. Scott used his sister's cell phone to call Chris. He lost his yesterday. Okay, start your sentence off by dividing it into independent clauses and dependent clauses to know whether you need a semicolon or a colon. Scott used his sister's cell phone. So Scott is your subject, used is the verb. What did he use? His sister's cell phone, there's the object. So that is one complete sentence. And he used the cell phone to call Chris. That's one complete sentence. So if you really had to, you can add a full stop there. If I just can just my mouse, you can add a full stop before Chris. Okay, and then the new sentence says after Chris, and then the new sentence says he lost his yesterday. So he lost is your verb. Where or how, he's not really doing it. There's no real object there. It just tells us when he lost it. So because we don't have the option of adding a semicolon, we divide those two sentences by putting let me start that again. Because we don't have the option of adding a comma or a full stop, not that you should add a comma, that it would be a run-on sentence. You need to add a semicolon because that is what they ask. So that semicolon goes in there between those two independent clauses. Number 2, Liz will meet Kim and Aaron at 6 o'clock. They have yoga class at 15 minutes after 6 o'clock. Okay. Now, people, I think the big thing that you'll kick yourself about this is, remember, time can also take colons. So you physically had to put that time that they put in brackets, write it as a decimal time, and put a colon in between. Okay, 6 o'clock will be 1800. Excuse me. So it will be 1800 colon 00. Okay, so, and then the same with that, just 15 minutes after 6 o'clock, 18 colon 15. Okay, let's have a look at the sentence itself. Liz will meet Kim and Aaron at 6 o'clock. Okay, and then it says they have yoga class at 15 minutes after 6 o'clock. Okay, so the big thing there is to discern between the two sentences there, because we will have to insert a semicolon as well. Liz will meet Liz will meet Kim and Aaron at 6 o'clock. Okay, so who's doing what? Liz. Okay, what is she doing? She will meet them. There's your verb. Who will she meet? Kim and Aaron at 6 o'clock. There is your object. So there, after 6 o'clock in brackets, needs to be a semicolon, because the next sentence starts, they have a yoga class at 15 minutes after 6. Okay. They is a collective noun for Liz, Kim, and Aaron. So that indicates to us that that's a new sentence, an independent clause. So you add your semicolon right there next to the bracket. Of course, you remove the brackets after you give your answer. Number 3, we watched Garfield, The Tale of Two Kittens after school on Monday. Excuse me, I just had some tea. Who's doing what? We watched. What did we watch? Garfield, A Tale of Two Kittens, and then, of course, when did we watch it? After school on Monday. Okay, now that is a title. There, Garfield, A Tale of Two Cities, as you can see with the inverted commas. And then Garfield on its own is a name. Nou, dit mag ook moeilik wees as in die agtergrond of van net nie, maar dit is basies soos om iets te sê en dan 'n onderskrif te gee. So you add a colon there next to Garfield. Garfield, A Tale of Two Kittens. It's a specific reference to Garfield, the story itself, and it goes into more specifics with A Tale of Two Kittens. Number 4, add these to your list when you go to the grocery store. Bread, milk, lunch, meat, and cheese. Nou, ons weet, hierdie klink soos 'n lysie, en ons weet van 'n lysie met vat vooraf 'n dubbelpunt, so the colon goes there, of between store and bread, and this is the list: bread, milk, lunch, meat, and cheese. Onthou, as dit reeds reg is, en hoef jy te verander nie, so jy kan net daai dubbelpunt daar sit. Number 5, excuse me, Lynn owns 4 dogs. 3 of them are poodles. Who's doing what there? Shari owns 4 dogs. So Shari is doing something. What does she do? She owns them. What does she own? The dogs. Okay, so there's a complete sentence. 3 of them. What does that 3 refer to? The 4 dogs that she that she owns. So there's a new sentence. What is the verb? Are is your verb. And then they're just poodles acting there as part of the verb. So there are 2 separate sentences. We divide those by using a semicolon. So semicolon after dogs, and, or between dogs, and 3. 3 is therefore a new sentence, both independent clauses. Number 6, most of you got right. You simply had to add a colon next to seg because it's introducing a quote, and that's all you had to do right there. Number 7, Lexi likes knitting scarves and hats. Gina likes watercolor painting, and Mona likes making pottery. Okay, again, ask yourself, who is doing what? In the first part, Lexi likes knitting scarves and hats. Lexi is your subject, likes knitting is your verb, and what does she like? Knitting scarves and hats. There's your object. So there is the end of a sentence. You only have the option of semicolon, put it in there. Then you carry on, because this is related. It's all about things that people like. Gina likes watercolor painting, comma, and Mona likes making a pottery. We separate Gina and Mona because not both of them like the same thing by that extra comma there. This would not necessarily, well, it could. You could add a semicolon there, definitely, and then obviously you don't need another one there, like making pottery. Okay, the big thing that you need to look at is that conjunction and. I'm going to skip number 8. I'm going to tell you what number 9 is. Harry Spy, aficionado of 4th Street. Harry is the title of the character, so the colon goes in there because he's the spy aficionado of the 4th Street. So that is a colon there. Then number 10 is a particularly interesting one. Kayla's school supply list included a calculator, a ruler, and a protractor for maths, a composition book, a pocket dictionary, and pens for English, and a binder. Excuse me. Okay. So this is a list, obviously. So we add a colon there after a and before calculator. So it's a calculator, a ruler, and a protractor for math. Semicolon, a composition book, pocket dictionary, and pens for English, semicolon, and a binder. So there are 3 types of things on this list. Okay, something for maths, something for English, and a binder for all of them. Okay, so we start off with after included, obviously your colon, and then you start with your first part. This is the maths part: a calculator, a ruler, and a protractor for maths. Okay, semicolon, a composition book, a pocket dictionary, and pens for English. Semicolon, and a binder. We do not add and a binder to English or maths because it stands alone, and therefore it takes the semicolon here as well next to the word English or between the word English and. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next exercise. Please have a look at those again if you're not sure, and I'll help you like I do today as well. Number 2, okay, the instruction, and that's very careful. The instruction says put commas in the correct place in each sentence. If a sentence does not require commas, write correct at the end of the sentence. Now, students, this is exactly the same rules that basically apply for or overlap with semicolons and dashes and all that things. Separate two clauses from each other. Look at the first sentence. Even though the paint was still wet, I couldn't resist touching it. Who is doing what? Okay, what am I doing? I couldn't resist. Okay, or touch. I couldn't resist touching. And then what couldn't I resist touching? It, which is obviously the reciprocal pronoun for the paint. Okay, so there are two independent clauses there. You simply have to, or actually one independent, one dependent. You simply have to add a comma to separate the two, and I'm sure you'll agree. You add the comma there between wet and I couldn't resist touching it. Number 2, after the fire burned down, I went inside the house. Who did what? I went inside the house. So I, your subject, went inside is your verb, and the house is your object. Then all you have left with is after the fire burnt out. So there the comma goes. After the fire burnt out, I went inside the house. Excuse me. Number 3, in English class, we read Old Man in the Sea, The Pearl, and Romeo and Juliet. Now, Old Man in the Sea is a title. I think I've said that in the class before. So The Pearl is a title and Romeo and Juliet is a title. So you need to put a comma there between C and the. Okay, there the comma goes. And between Pearl and Romeo and Juliet. Because Pearl has got nothing to do with Romeo and Juliet, just as Romeo and Juliet has got nothing to do with Pearl. So you need to indicate it with a comma. I'm going to do one final one. I watched television, took the dog for a walk, and drove to the store to get milk. This is splitting, basically a list. Splitting the list. What did I do first? I watched television, comma, then I took the dog for a walk, comma, and then I drove to the store to get milk. Let me carry on to the next exercise. I just want to quickly show you. Yes. Okay, next exercise. My mouse just wants to play along. Number 3, the instruction says all the commas and semicolons have been omitted from the following sentences. Each number contains 1 or 2 sentences which may have 1 or more commas or semicolons missing. So in this case, you're going to use your semicolons, okay, to separate independent clauses, and your commas to separate clauses from phrases, okay, because phrases are usually the part where extra information is given. Number 1, my English teacher is so strict, exclamation mark. At the beginning of the quarter, she said, if you miss 3 classes, you'll get an F. Okay, keep in mind, yeah, when you introduce speech, you can use either a colon, there, you can use either a colon or a semicolon or no, not a semicolon, either a colon or a comma. So there's no option of using the semicolon according to the instructions, so you add a comma in there before she starts speaking. Number 2, during my summer vacation, I went to the beach. My favorite beach activities are swimming, scuba diving, parasailing, and jet skiing. Okay, no option of a colon. So during my summer vacation, I went to the beach, full stop. My favorite beach activities are swimming. Okay, there's a difference between swimming and scuba diving, so therefore you need to put a comma between swimming and scuba. And there's also a difference between scuba diving and parasailing, so after driving. And there's also a difference between parasailing and jet skiing, so after or just before add commas. Number 3, NWU University is a great school, but I wish Potchefstroom was a bigger town. On the weekends, there is nothing to do. You can leave it as is. You don't need to change anything there. Number 4, although Marika is an excellent hostess, she was somewhat shaken when she stumbled down the stairs, falling face first into the clam dip. Okay. Although Marika is an excellent hostess, comma, she was somewhat shaken when she stumbled down the stairs, falling face first into the clam dip. Okay, so the only comma there is to separate the clause from the phrase. She's your subject, was somewhat shaken is your verb. There's no object necessarily directly there, but there it is. So your commas goes in here, goes into there, because there is a a dependent clause there to end it off for that. Okay. Number 4, insert colons or dashes as needed in the following sentences. So this is basically the same, except you're swapping the semicolons out for colons and commas for dashes. Okay, number 1 of 4, no one, and I mean no one should be permitted to smoke in a restaurant. So you've got extra information here. You can either use colons or dashes, they say. You normally separate extra information with a comma, but you've only got a dash. So the dash will be there after no one. And remember, you need 2. There's the next one because it's emphasizing this command. Okay. It's emphasizing this command. So there is a colon there, a dash there, and a dash there. Okay, here's a list by the look of number 2. Here's what I need at the store: milk, bananas, grapefruit, and ice cream. So a list, before the list starts, you need a colon. So between store and milk, you place a colon. Excuse me. Number 3, folk, blues, and Celtic. These are all types of music I really enjoy. Okay, a comma would not make sense there. It just would seem clumsy. So they're telling you what they like: folk, blues, and Celtic, or Celtic in this case. And then the sentence starts: these are all types of music I really enjoyed. So your dash will go in between Celtic and these. Number 4, I can work with anyone in the department except Sally. Okay, I need a long pause there. The long pause is given to us by the dash, so the dash will be inserted there. Okay, let's move on to number 5. Insert hyphens and parentheses. Remember, I said parentheses are brackets in the following sentences. Do not change or add punctuation mark. Studente, as jy gaan goeders verander in die eksamen en bysit, dan gaan ek vir jou punte aftrek. Okay, so the first one there, 72 people have been invited to the wedding. I don't really think there's need for, parentheses, but definitely hyphens. And then if you need to put in a hyphen between 70 and 2 to show that it is one concept. Number 2, yard work. Not my favorite task. Pastime can be a time-consuming activity. Okay, time-consuming immediately takes a hyphen because it's one definition. So then you also need to see the extra information. What is not his favorite pastime? That's yard work. Okay, because it's a time-consuming activity. So this here is extra information. So you add a comma there between work and not, and a comma between pastime and can. Number 3, the president-elect for our company, the daughters of the former president, is an outstanding individual with whom everyone respects and admires. Start with your hyphen. President-elect is one concept, so therefore it takes a hyphen. Let's see if there's nothing else. Okay, there's nothing else. We need to separate those 2 sentences. The president-elect of our company. Here comes the extra information. The daughter of the former president. Okay, so there's your extra information. Is an outstanding individual whom everyone respects and admires. So your colon goes into there. President-elect of our company. There we can see it. And your colon, your comma. No, I'm sorry, we don't use colons or commas here. We need to read the instruction. So therefore, that extra information needs to go in parentheses. So brackets are there, and the president of a company, in brackets, the daughter of the former president, close brackets, is an outstanding individual with whom everyone respects and admires. I'm going to do one more. Number 4, marriage. Such a wonderful institution does not agree with me. A 4-time loser in divorce court. I should have remained a happy-go-lucky bachelor. Okay, let's first have a look at our hyphens. 4-time is one word, so there needs to be a hyphen. And then, where am I now? There should be one more hyphen. I don't see it in any case. Okay. We know that there's a new sentence. I should have remained happy-go-lucky bachelor. All we have to do there is to point out the extra information. Marriage, that's a wonderful institution, does not agree with me. Okay, what does not agree with him? Marriage. Okay, so this part here is, if my mouse would just play along, is marriage. Is extra information, so hyphens there. Number 6, I wanted you to read the passage below and summarize it in 5 sentences. Some of you really messed this up. Okay, all you have to do is select 5 relevant sentences from there, change the words, and then you're right to go. I did not even say so many words and doing it in so many words. So please have a look at that. Remember your pure method and the fact that you're only using it in reverse now. With homophones and homonyms, there wasn't much problem. Okay, I want us to go back to the slides and specifically to the exam preparation. Studente, die kort en lank is jy moet alles ken. Gaan gebruik jou studiehandleiding wat ek geskryf het, jou handboek vir voorbeelde of vir nog iets om jou vrae te beantwoord. Jy sal 'n leesstuk kry waaruit jy bepaalde goed moet identifiseer. Jou meer basiese leestyd en goed sal daaruit geïdentifiseer moet word. Jy sal 'n vraag kry waar jy moet sê dit is 'n complex compound of simple sentence, dit sê jy definitief kry. Of jy kan byvoorbeeld die verskillende clauses en goed met uitwys om te wys hy's compound en dan die conjunction by of complex, dependent, independent clause. Jy gaan ook 'n opsomming kry wat jy moet doen. En dan vir die res is dit maar weer 'n geval van jy moet eenvoudig gaan wys hierdie vaardighede wat ons vir julle geleer het in die eksamen moet jy kan toepas. Dit gaan 'n 100-punt eksamen wees. Jy het 100 minute. Dit word op E-klas geskryf. Dit is hoe jy daarmee kan aangaan. Okay. My advice to you is do not try and consult outside sources while you are working, not just with lockdown browser, but you waste a lot of time. Read. You do not have to read the piece with intent. Rather skim or scan over it because we are simply looking for specific punctuation aspects of that lesson. You can then go and look for that there. We also specifically say what paragraph we are referring to when we ask a question. Goed, as daar enige verdere vrae is, ek sal so een keer 'n dag my rekenaar aansit en kyk of daar iets is wat geantwoord word. Sterkte met jou voorbereiding, gaan kyk weer na jou semesteropdrag, die vrae wat gevra is, gaan kyk na jou handboek, daar is baie oefeninge daarin wat jy kan doen. As jy tyd daaraan spandeer om te oefen en dinge reg te stel, dan behoort jy ook goed te wees vir die eksamen. Ek wens julle alle sterkte toe, goed gaan.